Hi, I'm Rob from ProjectorCentral, and this is LG's new HU715Q Ultra Short Throw projector. Let's have a look. So back in 2019, LG was one of the first brands to release an ultra short throw living room projector. The Cinebeam HU85LA is a premium 3-laser projector that originally cost $6,000. It sells today for around $4,500. A lot of new USTs have since hit the market, including a few mid-price units in that $3,000 to $4,000 price range. But LG has had nothing to compete in that popular segment. The new Cinebeam HU715Q changes all that. Priced at $2,999 out of the gate, it takes many of the best attributes of the HU85LA, including good out-of-box image quality, extensive picture adjustments, and LG's WebOS streaming platform, but it also adds some new and welcome advances. Now, LG sent us an early sample of the HU715 prior to the projector's formal announcement, before all its specs and design details were available. For the full lowdown, you'll need to read Mark Henninger's thorough review at ProjectorCentral linked below. But this video will give you a good overview of the 715's features and an idea of how it looks prior to any formal calibration. So let's get to it. If you like the sharp-edged Scandinavian Bauhaus design of the old HU85, you'll be thrilled with the HU715. It might as well be the 85's junior offspring. It shares exactly the same rectangular form factor, white finish, and gray cloth grille covering for the front speakers. It's a good bit smaller though, measuring in at 21 inches wide by 12.5 inches deep and 6 inches tall. The lens has a 0.22 to 1 throw ratio, which is a touch longer than the HU85's 0.19 lens. But it's still shorter than what we've seen in a lot of the competition. That means it sits a little further from the screen than the HU85 for any image in its 80 to 120 inch range, but it'll still be a bit closer than most other USTs. An improvement over the HU85 is motorized focus that can be optimized with a built-in test pattern. Like a lot of USTs, the 715 also offers multi-point geometry correction for quicker setup, but this automatically invokes processing that can degrade image quality and introduce input lag for gamers. So we always recommend you take the time to physically move the projector to align the image. You'll be assisted by not just 2, but 4 height adjustable feet, something we don't see in every UST projector. Behind the lens is a 2500 ANSI lumen laser light engine and a single DLP chip that uses XBR fast pixel shifting to achieve full 4K UHD resolution. You'll have to check out a review for more engineering details about the light engine, but most single chip USTs in this price range do rely on a color wheel and can suffer rainbow artifacts. Fortunately, I didn't observe much of that in my short time with the projector, which is a good sign. Now, one of the great things about LG's projectors is that they come out of the box equipped with the most extensive video calibration controls we've seen on any projectors. The 715 supports 2, 10, and 22-point white balance adjustments, as well as a full RGB CMY color management system. LG's best picture modes typically look very good out of the box, but it's nice that they can be calibrated for even greater accuracy. Other noteworthy image controls include LG's adaptive contrast, which adjusts black level by controlling the light output of the laser based on the image content. There's also a new auto brightness feature that relies on an ambient light sensor at the front of the projector to dim images when the room is dark. The auto dynamic contrast setting can also have a noticeable effect on picture quality, as well as the HDR tone mapping control. We'll explore these later in this review. Also new to the 715 and LG's just announced HU710 long throw projector is a new Game Optimizer picture mode and menu. The Game Optimizer menu adjusts the image and sound for different types of gameplay, including first-person shooters, role-playing games, and real-time strategy games. The Game Optimizer menu is available in any picture mode, but you'll need to specifically select the Game Optimizer picture mode to activate the projector's low input lag feature. That took lag down from nearly 200 milliseconds to between 50 and 55 milliseconds with either 1080p 60 or 4K 60 signals. But serious gamers know that's still too slow for more than just casual gaming. You can read more about the 715's gaming performance in our review. Now behind the projector is the connection panel. There are 3 HDMI ports, a pair of USB 2.0 inputs, an optical audio output, and an RJ45 LAN port to use in lieu of Wi-Fi. You can also get signals into the projector with AirPlay 2 and wireless mirroring, and Bluetooth out to a speaker or soundbar is supported with an audio sync control. 2 of the HDMI ports are the older version HDMI 2.0, and one is HDMI 2.1. Like LG's other projectors with HDMI 2.1, it's only spec'd at 24 gigabits per second bandwidth, so it won't do 4K at 120 Hz from the latest game consoles. But it does support auto low latency mode, as well as eARC for sending Dolby Atmos to an audio system from the onboard streaming platform. Speaking of audio, a major failing of the older HU85 was the anemic sound coming from the cheap utility speakers behind the front grille. LG wisely addressed that in the HU715 with a 40-watt 4-speaker stereo system. It played reasonably loud and distortion-free in our small studio, and it comes with some neat features. To begin, there are several sound modes and the ability to tune the sound with a multi-band equalizer. You can also set the projector to simultaneously send audio to the internal speakers and the optical audio output, which should theoretically allow connection of a subwoofer with an inexpensive optical to analog adapter. Another cool feature listed in the manual is the ability to connect a pair of wireless Bluetooth speakers for surround sound. You can read our review for more details. LG includes its WebOS user interface and streaming platform in the HU715, and it's one of the few projectors that offers a working 4K Netflix app right out of the box. Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, and Apple TV Plus are also preloaded, and you can download others from LG's App Store. The platform supports voice commands through the microphone on the remote control. Now, the supplied remote is a version of LG's widely used Magic Remote that combines a floating air mouse and standard navigation keypad. It's got dedicated buttons to reach Netflix, Prime Video, and Disney Plus, and the Picture Plus button brings up a helpful mini menu for quick access to some key image tweaks, including the important HDR tone mapping switch I'll say more about later. A nice extra is that the remote is backlit. So this is the part of our reviews where I like to stop and thank Elite Screens for sponsoring our video channel and providing us with their high-value screens for our studio demos. For this review, we used a 100-inch AEON CLR ceiling light rejecting screen that's specifically designed for use with UST projectors. We reviewed this screen favorably a while back, and its Starbright CLR material remains one of Elite's best UST surfaces. It features a lenticular sawtooth construction that rejects 95% of overhead ambient light. And its low 0.6 gain really helps punch up blacks and contrast while providing a wide 180-degree viewing cone. If you need to hide your screen, a similar material is available in retractable versions, and in fact, Elite is the only manufacturer we know of who makes a 120-inch retractable lenticular UST screen. Keep an eye out for our upcoming review. In the meantime, you can stop by Elite's website to survey all of their available CLR UST options. So you'll have to read our review of the HU715 at ProjectorCentral to get our detailed take on how it measured and performed in the course of a full evaluation. But I can say that in my short time with the 715, I was pretty impressed with its out-of-box image quality. As usual, LG's best default picture modes were close enough to accurate for a guy like me to happily live with, and my fellow tweakers out there will find a lot of options to customize the image for either dark or bright room viewing. After a bit of exploring, I found LG's expert modes for dark and bright rooms to provide the best picture to my eye. The Expert Dark mode displayed excellent color with just a hint of the warmth we see in the best movie modes that are tuned for the neutral D65 color standard. For my taste, I switched from the warm to the medium color temperature to crisp up the whites, even though they pushed a little blue after that. I also switched on the auto dynamic contrast and left the adaptive contrast in its default on position. I experimented with the sensor controlled auto brightness, but ultimately left it off. It will temper image brightness when it recognizes a dark room, and it might be helpful for folks who never adjust their projector for changing light conditions, but I always use separately tuned picture modes and I didn't need this. The result after adjustments was a very good home theater picture. Skin tones were natural and well delineated, and contrast was excellent. Natural colors like skies and mountains looked great. Bright colors were punchy, but not artificially pumped up. Detail was also nice and sharp with scaled SDR images. And thanks to the adaptive and dynamic contrast processing, dark scenes provided good shadow detail with satisfyingly deep blacks. Of course, anyone buying a UST projector is likely to be watching a good bit of television in moderate to high ambient light. So I spent some time watching the 715's SDR Expert Bright Room mode. The projector and screen combo did a great job of combating the ridiculously bright overhead office lights that wash out the screen in our studio. Our video here doesn't even do full justice to the good contrast I saw, and it only got better when I switched over to more moderate room light. Darkroom HDR viewing was also very pleasing on the HU715Q. I settled on the Cinema Home HDR mode and made a few tweaks to the default settings, just like I did for SDR. Along with moving the color temperature from warm to medium, I turned on the auto dynamic contrast and also deactivated the HDR tone mapping. This function is either on or off, with no adjustment to trade off between brighter highlights or a darker image with more detail. So with any given HDR title, you're stuck with whatever the LG's HDR tone mapping algorithm gives you. On challenging bright content, it was obviously a requirement to get any kind of watchable image. But with most HDR of more average brightness, I found turning it off resulted in a punchier, more HDR-like picture with more visceral highlights. HDR images enjoyed excellent color with good flesh tones, and well-shot nature footage looked accurate and had some real impact. LG didn't provide a spec for the HU715's color gamut, but animation was super punchy and I had no complaints about the well-saturated colors. The on-screen detail from unscaled 4K was also superb, and difficult dark HDR scenes also rendered fairly well. In conclusion, LG's new Sabin HU715Q UST strikes me out of the box as an excellent value. Even with its game optimizer mode, it still falls a bit short on input lag for serious gamers. And as with other LG projectors, there's no support for 3D. But for a solid, highly affordable entry-level UST, it still provides excellent features, including a Netflix-ready streaming platform along with good default image quality. I think it's a great contender at its $29.99 price. But be sure to check out Mark Henninger's review linked below to get his full take on the HU715, including our star ratings for performance, features, ease of use, and value. And as always, please click the thumbs up button if you like this review and subscribe to our channel and notifications for our future videos. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you back here soon.